Hey guys, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Hi, hello, if you are new here, which you quite possibly are. My name is Ash, and I'm just your average lover of music, anime, manga, video games, shopping, etc, etc. On my channel, I mainly do hauls and talk about anime and manga, because those are the things I love the most. Shopping, anime, and manga. So, this video today is going to be quite a lengthy one. But this is part one of my manga collection, and in part one I'm just going to show you all of my English volumes of my manga, and then in part two I think I'm going to show you the Japanese editions, any art books, and any like gaming art books I own. And I really wanted to film this so I could start putting my new manga out on my shelves, which you will be seeing in my manga hauls later on, but I just wanted to go ahead and show what's in my collection, and I'm like flashing up a little sneak peek. So if you stick around to the end of this video, here's a little sneak peek of what's in my collection. But thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. It was quite a long journey because I've already filmed it. It was quite a long journey, and it was filled with highs and lows. And by that, I mean my energy kind of spiked all over the place. But I feel like some of these series are in my collection. We'll get their own dedicated video later. I ended up going into that a little bit in depth in my video, so please continue to watch this if you want. And if you have any recommendations for series or anything, leave them down in the comments below. If you want to, you can subscribe. If you are interested in seeing my socials, my Instagram is linked down below. So is my review blog that I do that I haven't updated, but that's linked down below too. If you're interested, you can give that a check. And for my Instagram, I will end up actually posting pictures of my shelves. So after I get all of my manga rearranged, and every single haul after I rearrange those, I will post new shelfies. So, alright guys, let's get into this because it's gonna be a long ass journey. Thanks guys, bye! Alright, so the first series that I picked up is a series that I started, but now I don't know if I love it as much. Okay, and that series is actually 20th Century Boys. So I have volumes 1 through 5. Yeah, so this is volume 2. I wonder if that's lawful. And then this is volume 5, so yes, I have volumes 1 through 5 in my collection. Volume 1, and these are the perfect editions. I just really started off liking this series, and then as it went on, I realized I just don't love it as much as I thought I would. This is volume 3. And finally, volume 4. So that manga is kind of on the chopping block. I don't know if I want to get rid of it because I really like the perfect editions. I think they're very beautiful. But I kind of feel bad just having half the collection. I've lost all motivation to actually finish it, which makes me feel really bad because when I first started reading the series, I loved it. And I just lost interest by the time I reached volume 4. So I don't know if I'm going to keep these because I like the way they look, but I have very limited space. Or if I want to pass these on to either my library or sell them. But okay, so next series. Alright you guys, and if we have any like weird light changes in this video, I'm sorry. I'm filming this kind of later on in the day. So we're gonna have to deal with the light as it changes. I just wanted to start filming this video, and like this is a free weekend that I actually had for once. So the next manga that I have is Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite video game, so having the manga is very nostalgic for me. And this is volume 1. I don't really like the manga all that much, to be honest, but it's okay. I love Kingdom Hearts as a whole. This is Kingdom Hearts The Final Mix, volume 1. And then Kingdom Hearts The Final Mix, volume 2. And this pretty much covers the game in depth very well, and I picked those up from thrift books. Next, I have a very chunky boy. And this is Wolf Children Ami and Yuki. I really like this. I hope y'all can see that. I can't even see y'all, but I really like this manga. It's very cute. It's a beautiful rendition, and it follows the movie pretty closely, and I really enjoyed the movie. So next we have the Drifting Classroom Definitive Edition. This is volume 1. I know this is like a staple in the horror genre, but I read it. This is a very, this is an older manga, and I read it, and I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would. So I'm not going to continue on with the series, but I like the definitive edition. It's beautiful. It's nice to have like a staple in the horror genre, especially because this mangaka inspired so many horror mangaka. It's just nice to have this for reference, but as I was reading it, it didn't scare me. There wasn't enough body horror or gore to keep me interested, and the definitive editions are kind of expensive, so just for something I wasn't fully feeling, I'm not gonna finish the series, but I'm glad to have this first volume. And then finally, sorry, I feel like it sounds so down in this video, but I'm not. I'm just like in my normal mood, and I don't want to be like super duper hyper. So first I have the Monster Volume 1. This is the Perfect Edition, and this is by the same mangaka who did 20th Century Boys. I find this one to be much more intriguing than 20th Century Boys was, but I picked this up off of thrift books for like 60% off its like normal price, and it was the same thing for volume 2. So this is volume 2, the Perfect Edition. Oh shit, it's upside down. Yeah, sorry. So this is volume 2, the Perfect Edition, and I'm really intrigued by the series, and I really want to pick up more. It's just that with my history with 20th Century Boys, I don't know if I want to buy the series full price, but I have heard great things, and the first 2 volumes have really captured my attention. So the next volumes I'm going to be showing you are from the same mangaka, and I'm going to be keeping these in my collection, and I foresee myself continuing to buy this mangaka, and that is Chun Ji Ito. I love Chun Ji Ito. I find his work to be so horrific and like body horror-esque. Even if the stories aren't that engaging, I love the artwork. So this is the Dissolving Classroom. I really enjoyed this volume. And then we have the latest one to come out from him, which is Hellstar Ramnia. And they're beautiful hardbacks, and I just love. Okay, I'm sorry, I really suck at flipping, so I think I'm gonna quit flipping. But this is a more horrific because it's like a sci-fi horror-ish, but this kind of deals with like the horror of like a mob mentality. And then we have Venus in the Blind Spot. This is a short story anthology. I really liked this anthology. It was really good. So I'm gonna continue on. I was gonna say I'm gonna continue on with the series, but it's pretty much a given that anything Chun Ji Ito puts out I'm going to continue to buy, because he's one of the mangaka that I collect from. This is Fragments of Horror. This is one of my favorite anthologies from Chun Ji Ito. Like, look at that cover. Like, even look at the cover art. I love it. So, there's some. There we go. This might be so unwatchable. I'm so sorry, guys. This is my first, like, collection video, so I will try to get better as, like, as I film more videos. I promise I'll find a way to get better at this. Thanks for clicking on this and putting up with me while I'm, like, learning how to do this. So, this last volume here is No Longer Human by Chun Ji Ito. This is his rendition of it, and the original story is by Osamu Dazai, and this is my favorite manga by Chun Ji Ito because I have such a connection to No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. It's my favorite book. Osamu Dazai is my favorite like author. And so just having this in my collection, I love it. I think it's beautiful. I feel like Chun Ji Ito did a pretty good job like making the story his own, but still sticking to what makes No Longer Human unique. So. And then we have Shiver. This is fine. Smashed. This is fine. Frankenstein. And these three are all anthologies. And then I have Tomi, which is the story of Tomi. This is all of the manga that feature Tomi. Ghoul, which I think Ghoul was my first story that I ever read by Chun Ji Ito. That's a fucking lie. I just lied. My first story ever by Chun Ji Ito that I read was Shiver. So, and I really, like, I fell in love with Shiver and the art style of Chun Ji Ito, and it made me a big fan and made me want to continue to buy and support Chun Ji Ito as a mangaka. And finally, Uzumaki, which I think Uzumaki is the best story that Chun Ji Ito has put out. I really like the horror of Uzumaki. So next, alrighty. So next we have 6 volumes of Hunter x Hunter. I will say with the Hunter x Hunter series, I actually only ended up collecting the volumes that span the arcs that I really loved, or the arcs that had my favorite characters. So I don't have the entire English collection of Hunter x Hunter, but I have read it. So I have volume 11, volume 12, 13. Oh, I'll show that one last. Sneak peek. Volume 8. Sorry if it bugs you if I do this out of order. Volume 10. Volume 9. And then 9 through 13 actually spans the York New arc. And the York New arc's my favorite. I love the spiders and the Phantom Troop. Corollo, which is volume 34. Corollo is my favorite character. And why I ended up getting volume 34 is because volume 34 has my favorite fight in the entire series. So I probably will not be picking up any more of the Hunter x Hunter series in English, just because it is a very long series, and while Hunter x Hunter is one that I would consider top tier, I think Togashi is a amazing mangaka. Unless like the arcs that will probably never get finished, hopefully get finished. His health is more important than the story, obviously, but unless that arc ends up being my favorite arc, which is like the Dark Continent arc, I probably won't pick up any more volumes of the English Hunter x Hunter, but that's okay. I have my favorite arcs in English, and that's all that matters. So next. Alrighty. So next I'm going to show you my My Hero Academia spin-off collection. So this is the spin-off manga for Vigilante. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry for the weird glare on these, by the way. Volume 5. 6. 7. And 8. So this series all in all is okay. It's not my favorite, it's not my worst, but because it's a My Hero Academia spinoff, I will probably continue collecting it. Although the series is a lot longer than I thought it was gonna be. There's all the spines. I think I'm caught up to date. I believe volume 9 is coming out sometime this year. So next I have My Hero Academia Smash. It's volume 1. This is Volume 2. Oh, I'm sorry, I should show you some art. Sorry, so in Vigilantes, that's the back. So, Horikoshi does not do the art, nor does he write the stories, but I believe that the mangakas work closely with Horikoshi. Not that I really know, I just collected because it is a My Hero Academia spinoff. This is Smash Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5, and this is the final volume of Smash. So, Smash is a 4-panel comic style comedy, and the humor in it is hit or miss. I found myself really enjoying Smash. Some of it's really stupid, some of it made me laugh out loud, but I think I might have a shitty sense of humor because I'm actually buying this for my nephew to read because he likes My Hero Academia, and he doesn't find it as funny as I do. So maybe my sense of humor is just pure fucking trash, but I really enjoy it. I enjoy it, and you can typically find these cheaper online. So if you are a big fan of My Hero Academia, I want to see it through more of a comedic light. There you go. So very much of a spoof series. And next, I have the 4 volumes of the light novel School Briefs. So this is Volume 1. Volume 2, 3, and 4. So my least favorite volume out of all of these was actually 4. This one covered the school festival arc, but all in all, let's see if I can hold this up. I really like the light novels because it goes into like a more behind the scenes, and it really just deals with Class 1A's school life, which I feel like for how dark My Hero Academia can get, we have to remember that these are young characters. They're 14, 15, 16. So it is nice to just see them in a purely academic light. So if you're big fans of My Hero Academia, I do recommend all the spin-offs, especially if you're a big collector. You can't go wrong, or maybe if you can find them, read them at a library or something. So next. Alright, you guys, so next, you can kind of see my stack. I'm just going to my room and picking them off the bookshelf and then just bringing them to my filming location. But I should have sorted these before I started this, shouldn't I? Hold on. Okay, so now that they're sorted, ready to go, I have Volume 1 of Godchild, and this is from the Earl Cain series by Kaori Yuki. This is the 5th installment of the Earl Cain series. And here's Volume 2. I only have the Godchild portion of the Earl Cain Volume 3. I brought all of these used from thrift books recently. Volume 4. Because I read this when I was younger. Like, I read this back in middle school. Volume 5. It was the first series that I ever completed, and Volume 6. And since I was a shitty collector when I was younger, I really didn't get into a more collector's mindset. Volume 7. I let things get ruined and stuff. Volume 8. So because I let things get ruined, all of my Godchild manga got ruined, and I've moved halfway across the country, and I left all the old manga that I had back with my parents. So I just went ahead and I rebought the Godchild series, because I'm interested to see if it's as good as I remember, or if it's just nostalgia. Because I like to do that. I like to actually go back and like read manga that I read when I was younger, or just do like rereads of series that I have finished or whatever. I like to do that once a year, just like reread one series. So I'm gonna do that with Godchild. So next I have My Love Story Volume 1. Volume 2. I really love My Love Story. It's my favorite romance. Volume 3. Manga and anime. It's very wholesome. Volume 4. Very, very, very sugary sweet. Like, there's no dramatics in this series whatsoever. Volume 5. And because it's just like a pure love story and Volume 7. I lied, I can't count this. Volume 6. Because of just like how sweet it is, I really enjoyed it. I don't like dramatic romances. Volume 8. And this is volume 9. There's 13 volumes. I don't have them all yet, but I am looking to complete this series for my collection. And my love story tells the story of Takao? Not Taco. Wow. Go to Takeo. You know what? Ignore all that butchering. I think whenever I finish the series and I do a reread, I'll probably go into it more then. But next series. So I should say next shelf and not next series, but so I have After the Rain Volume 1. These are collected in almost an omnibus edition. They also feature some color pages. This is almost an age gap romance. Volume 2. So it follows the story of Tachibana, and she's in love with her manager. Volume 3. And her manager kind of starts to develop feelings back for her. Volume 4. But this series isn't as problematic as that explanation just sounded. This series is actually very, very wholesome. I don't know if wholesome, volume 5. But the series went somewhere where I wasn't expecting it to go, and it's not even more focused on the age gap romance. It's more of a story about finding yourself and reclaiming yourself. So I really, volume 5 was the final volume, so hold on. There you go. So I highly recommend After the Rain if you're looking for like a good a good series that's completed. There's only 5 volumes, but they're omnibus editions, so they are more than like, let's say, what a volume of My Hero Academia would cost. Okay, so next I ended up picking up Eclair, which is a girls' anthology. A girls' love anthology that resonates in your heart. This is alright. I gave it a 3-star. I don't have much to say. Stories were okay. None of them were really memorable. I picked it up for a June readathon for LGBTQ+ stories. Next, I ended up picking, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, the complete manga collection. I love this. I haven't seen the movie, I haven't read the light novel, but the manga is really good, really sad, and I cried. And I highly, highly recommend this. Like, at least the manga. I hope to watch a movie and read the light novel one day, but I highly, highly recommend this manga, especially if you are in the mood for something that's more gut-wrenching and a little bit on the sad side, but it's still hopeful. So yes. And then, next thing I own is My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness. It's basically a true story about the mangaka and how she didn't have her first sexual experience until she was much older. I shouldn't say much older, but she was older than like what you would normally expect somebody to have their first like experience. And then she identifies as lesbian, so that this is my lesbian experience with loneliness, and it's good. I kept this in my collection. I got this for, once again, an LGBTQ+ readathon. It's really good. I would say it's like a 3.5 out of 5. Then the next, I have 3 out of 4 books in a series. So this is Our Dreams at Dusk. And here's the front, here's the back. This is an LGBT. I'm not gonna be able to say it now. Hold on. This is volume 2. This is an LG. Okay. Let me see if I could nail this on volume 4. So this is volume 4. I have volume 3 ordered. It just was out of stock, so it hasn't shipped out yet. But this is an LBG, LGBTQ plus. Oh my god. I don't know why I struggled so much with that. But this is an LGBTQ plus coming of age story. This covers all ends of the spectrum. So gay, lesbian, asexual. It has somebody that's struggling with their gender identity, somebody who is questioning their own sexual identity. And it's not a romance. So regardless of how beautiful these covers look and how this almost looks like a romance series, it's not a romance in the end. It's very hard-hitting and it's a beautiful coming-of-age story. And I think if you are on the LGBTQ plus spectrum and you like manga, this is a great series to read. This is a series that I will probably reread once a year. And even if you're not on the spectrum and either A, you're like questioning where you are on the spectrum, I highly recommend this. Or if you're like hetero and you're just curious, highly recommend this. Like, I recommend this series to everyone I talk to that reads manga, because this also touches on like how the LGBTQ plus community is viewed in Japan, which isn't that great. So I want to talk more in depth on this series, and I think I will once I get it in. But yeah, I resonate highly with this story. I think the representation in the story is beautiful, and I could sing its praises all day. So if you haven't checked this out, I think pretty much out of all the series I own in my like collection that's not like shonen or a big series or very well known, this is the one I recommend the most, because I feel like this is the one that you're gonna get the most out of, and it's gonna make you feel things, and it's wonderful, and I fucking adore it, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So okay, next shelf. Okay, so I keep referring to like next shelf. So I do have some bookshelves. I do have some of these series out on a bookshelf already. I'm just not happy with how my bookshelves are set up, so I want to clean them, rearrange them, and then pretty much as I receive more manga into my collection, I need to go through and figure out. This should be in the beginning. I'll refilm my opening. Anyways, next series. So this one really is a series. So this is not in order. Fuck. Just ignore that. Hold on. Okay. Next series. So next I have all 3 volumes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is the part 1. This is Phantom Blood. I love Horikoshi. Did I just combine 2 mangaka's names? I did. Oh my god, I love Hirohiko Araki. Oh gosh. His art's phenomenal. I love JoJo's. JoJo's is one of my top tier favorites. I would say JoJo's is in my top 3, if not my favorite, like, manga series of all time. It's very debatable, but this is volume 2. These are hardback edition. They're beautiful. And why I say it's very debatable is because there's some portions of JoJo's I fucking adore. This is volume 3, and this is the final volume of part 1 of Phantom Blood. There's some parts that I fucking adore in JoJo's that I will reread time and time again. I will rewatch it time and time again. And there are some parts where I don't vibe as much with them. So here's 3 volumes. There they are. And Phantom Blood is probably the one that I don't vibe with as much as I do some of the others. And it took me a while to get into JoJo's because oh, is this gonna get me crucified for saying this in the manga community? Is anybody ever gonna discover this video? I don't know. Maybe this is buried so deep in, some people won't get to this part. But I watched the first 2 episodes of Phantom Blood, dropped the series. Didn't even want to read it. I thought the artwork was so different than what I was used to seeing. I thought Phantom Blood was kind of boring, and Phantom Blood almost scared me away from the entire series. Like, I had to force myself almost to get through Phantom Blood. I think like the last 2 or 3 episodes I loved. And it's the same thing, like the last arc of Phantom Blood I fucking loved. But the first part, when Jonathan was younger, when Dio was younger, I could give 2 shits about that. It was just the art is so different than what I was used to seeing. It was just a time. But I'm glad I stuck through it, because after Phantom Blood, I don't know if this is going to be controversial to say, but after Phantom Blood, this is part 2, and this is Battle Tendency, and there are several issues with Battle Tendency, like some racism and stuff like that. But overall, I really enjoyed like Battle Tendency. I think Joseph is a great Joestar. He's not a good Joestar in like terms of morality, but damn is he entertaining. And yeah. So this is part 2. Or I'm sorry, this is volume 2. And plus I really like the antagonist. I really like those Pillarmen. Volume 3. And like some parts of this actually kind of made me a little sad. And volume 4. And I really like Cars as an antagonist. I found part 2 is so entertaining. It is so much fun. And I mean, I just think like if you kind of look past some of the more problematic problems with part 2, you might find that you love it, or you might find that you like it. Jojo's does have some problematic stuff in it. Hold on. So yeah, I mean, Jojo's does have some problematic issues. Like, the series is older than I am. The series is as old as my brother, and my older brother was born in the 80s. So we'll leave it at that. But I really like it, and certain parts make this series just like be in my top. And after getting used to Araki's art, I find his art to be stunning. But it's definitely a learning curve. So if you're used to like traditional manga, it might take a little bit, because like his art has evolved over the time. So I'll hold up books and talk. But this is part 3. This is Stardust Crusaders. And in this part, stands are actually introduced into the series. So I think part 3 is probably the most recognizable, with Jotaro being like the most recognizable Joestar. And part 3 is pretty much like highly regarded. And I really liked part 3. It was good. It was very heart-wrenching. Some of it did kind of feel like the first half felt like the second half in a way. But let's not go there first. So what I was saying was like, so the first couple of arcs or parts of JoJo's have very buff, burly men. Because when the manga came out, when Araki like first came up with the premise of JoJo's and started writing it, buff, burly men were in style. That was like the style of manga. And then as like manga started to like, this is volume 4? Yeah. As manga started to evolve and like what was popular started to evolve, Araki's art greatly improved, and his character's design started to reflect that. Here's volume 5. But the thing with Stardust Crusaders is it can start to feel almost the same, like stand battle, stand battle, stand battle. And like the stands are kind of basic. But this part's heavy. This part's very heavy, so I'll be back. This was my first shelf of JoJo's. I've got another shelf. Okay, I'm back. Oh, so sorry, the next shelf is kind of heavy, but it's still JoJo's. So I will probably end up having more than just 2 JoJo themed shelves. And I turned on the light in my apartment because the sun's coming down. But next is volume 7 of Stardust Crusaders, part 3. But I think overall part 3 was really solid, and the introduction of stands, part 8. The introduction of stands is pretty much what really kept me interested in JoJo's. Part 9. And part 10. Part 10 is the final manga volume of Stardust Crusaders. And I feel like Stardust Crusaders is one of the longest parts. It's also one of the longest parts in the in the anime. So I'm gonna start with the next part of JoJo's, and the next part I'm gonna hold up, which is part 4, which is Diamond is Unbreakable. So as you can tell, these aren't the like pretty art covers that Araki redrew his characters in like the part 8 art style. But part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. This is my favorite part. I adore part 4. This is one I have done multiple rereads, multiple rewatches of, and like I still love it. It's such a lighthearted part about a serial killer. Okay. But no, I feel like the stakes in this one weren't as heavy as in the previous volumes or in the previous parts, and then in the parts that followed DIU. And Josuke's my favorite Joestar, so part 4 overall just has my heart. So, you didn't see me put that on the floor. Okay, so this is volume 2 of DIU. I feel like the stands in this definitely kind of came into their own too in DIU. Here's part 3. Not part 3, volume 3 of DIU, and these are once again the hardcovers. This is volume 4, and DIU also has my favorite JoJo's character of all time, which is Kishibe Rohan, the mangaka. Oh, he's such an asshole, but I love asshole characters. So, this is volume 6? Volume 5. Once again, my inability to read or to count pops up. But not only does DIU have my favorite character, it also has my favorite antagonist, which is Yoshikage Kira. The part for Yoshikage The part for Kira. My god, I cannot speak sometimes. But I think Kira is an immaculate antagonist. I don't know if this is a spoiler, but his want for a simple life, the need to not stand out, though I'm sure our reasons are different, I vibe with that. And I love Killer Queen as a stand. But Rohan's stand, Heaven's Door, oh god, this is volume 6, but Kira's stand, not Kira, but Rohan's stand, part 4. Oh my gosh. Rohan's stand, Heaven's Door, is probably one of the more OP powers you can have. So I really like Heaven's Door too. But here you are, this is part 7. But this also has a character called Stray Cat, and I think he's the cutest character to ever exist in the entire JoJo series. So I have volumes 1 through 7 right now, and I will be picking up 8 and 9 whenever they're released. I think volume 8 has been released. It's just stuck in one of my hauls from Right Stuff that hasn't been shipped out yet. Ooh, okay, let's see if I can hold this up. Sorry, I didn't hold up part 3's spine, but 10 volumes of hardbacks is kind of heavy, and I'm a weak ass bitch, but oh fuck me, okay. These are the volumes 1 through 7 of DIU. So, next shelf. And I have to say we're getting into more of my longer series. JoJo's was actually a really long series to have, but we definitely is my 3rd longest series in my collection, which means I have the most volumes of this collected in my English collection. So, I think it's either this or JoJo's are tied for my 3rd. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so right now, actually, JoJo's is the 4th in my collection. I have 24 volumes of JoJo's, and I have 26 volumes of what I'm about to show you. Although JoJo's could be an omnibus edition, I'm not fully sure if those hardbacks are actually considered omnibuses or not. So it's up for debate. But The next series I want to show you is actually an omnibus, and then I have some like standalone editions. Sorry, I feel like I'm running out of steam. I'm gonna drink some coffee here at 7 o'clock at night. Anyways, so this is probably one of my oldest series to me personally, because I started reading this back in 5th grade. And this is The Gray Man. So this is The Gray Man volumes 1 through 3. This is the omnibus editions. I had some of these series when I was younger. Volume 2 of the omnibus, 4 through 6 in the normal manga. And then they ended up getting ruined because I can't take care of shit. So I ended up rebuying these recently and doing a reread. This is volume 3 of the omnibus with volumes 7 through 8 inside. Or I'm sorry, 7 through 9 inside. And this series has really held up over time. I've been reading it for at least 10 plus years, and I think it's like 15 plus years old. This is the 4th omnibus edition with volumes 10 through 12 in it. And the mangaka Hoshino actually has some health issues. This omnibus volume 5 with volumes 13 through 15. So the series has gone from a weekly to a monthly to a quarterly, and there was a long hiatus in between due to health issues from the mangaka, but since they do this quarterly, we still get 4 chapters a year. This is the 6th volume with volumes 16 through 18, and you can definitely tell that like the mangaka's art has improved so much, and just like moving from weekly to quarterly, like the storytelling has gone up tremendously, and this is one of my favorite series. Like, I suck at ranking series because like my interests change so much, but The Gray Man is one that I constantly come back to over and over and over again. Like, I've done multiple rereads of the series. This is volumes 19 through 21. So even though I've done multiple rereads, this is the first time that I've picked it up in physical print, and since I once had them when I was younger but didn't take care of them, this is like my first time having the entire collection. These are volumes 22 through 24. And then finally, 25. Oh, just look how beautiful the art is. And 26. So since the mangaka only releases 4 chapters a year, the actual volumes of this manga come out kind of slow. So volume 27 is out in Japan, but I don't foresee volume 27 being released in English anytime soon. I think it's like every 3 years a new English volume of The Gray Man comes out. But this is one series I'm going to hope I can finish, because I've essentially grown up with this series. Like, even when I've fallen out of love with manga, well, I've never truly fallen out of love with manga. It's just that even when I've had to hide it because I was severely bullied for liking manga in school, and then some of my exes didn't like me liking manga, this series has been one I've come back to time and time and time and time again. And it's like one series I cannot get out of my head. I think this is a beautifully well done series, and I highly recommend this. And it's kind of the same deal that if you don't want to buy 26 volumes and you don't want to buy the omnibuses, see if your local library has it, or see if your local library can like request it from another library. It is a great read. Great read. Next shelf. Okay guys, so the next series that I'm going to show you is the second longest series that I have physically collected the volumes of in my collection. And this is definitely one of the collections I am most proud of, like more proud of. I think the collection that I'm honestly the most proud of is my Chun Ji Ito, just because the mangaka is a mangaka I will pretty much always support. But I think just for the sheer length of volumes and the fact that I'm still interested in it, this volume's like this far into the series is a good sign. And that is none other than the legendary, to me, I don't know if it's legendary yet, but it's a great series. It's one of my favorite series and has my favorite character of all time in it. That is My Hero Academia by Kohi Horikoshi. I adored My Hero Academia. This is volume 1. Funny thing is, I never wanted to watch My Hero Academia or read it. This is volume 2. Because I thought it was just overhyped, just too big, and nope. This is volume 3. And that's my favorite character. My favorite character of all time in any media is Tonara Shigaraki. Oh god, I could go on about Shigaraki, but I think as an antagonist, he's wonderful. As a character, morally, he's not a great person, but as a character, he's wonderful. But, volume 4. So yeah, I never wanted to pick this series up at first. I thought it was overhyped, too mainstream. I don't read no mainstream shit. That was edgy me. That was me 7 years ago. Now eating, well, maybe it hasn't been that long. Hold on. I'm gonna say 3 to 4 years ago. That was me. And now I'm eating my words. And this is volume, not that volume. This is volume 5. And I watched this with my brother because my brother had started it. He came from Georgia to visit me where I live now. Volume 6. And he had started watching My Hero Academia, and we always binge an anime together. Volume 7. And I didn't have anything I wanted to binge at the moment, so I'm like, you know what? I'll watch My Hero Academia with you. I'll give it a go. I think I got more into the series than he did, because like after we finished all the seasons that were out, I went and completely read the manga. I completely read the manga up to date through the Shonen Jump app. I like bought all the physical copies. I am like such a fucking fan of this series. This is volume 8, because like volume 9, just where the series ended up going, it's one of those series that is getting darker over time. Like, it's maturing as a series right now, and I'm gonna continue to support it. Volume 10, because it's like a great reflection of society. And volume 11. I know there's a lot of polarizing opinions on My Hero Academia and Kohi Horikoshi as a whole. Volume 12. But this is truly one of my favorite series, and like it was my favorite series last year. Volume 13. Okay guys, I'll be back. I gotta go get the other half of this class. So I highly recommend, if you have started reading this series in the past and you're not up to date, if you have the time to get up to date. This is volume 14. Volume 15. 16. Because even though we're 302 chapters in, where the story is going is it has severely matured from the beginning. It's a lot heavier and darker, and though some of the choices personally upset me, like, I don't want to get into spoilers, but I just have preferences, and some sad things happen to my preferences. 17. I'm not upset with the series. Like, I'm still very invested, and I'm still happy to see where the series is going. I just highly, highly recommend it. Volume 18. Volume 19. Even my least favorite arc, which was... At first, I thought my least favorite arc was the school festival. Because when I read it, I wasn't interested. And then, like, I got to know the two antagonists of that arc better. And just the overall arc, like, the anime made me fall in love with the arc. So I specifically reread that arc again, and I was wrong. I highly enjoyed that arc. Volume 19? Okay. Sorry, these aren't in order, but I'm trying to put them in order. This is volume 20, and, it's Mirko, number 5 hero. Fucking stan her, too. She's a beautiful woman. Beautiful, muscular woman. But... this is volume 21. 22 and 23. So I feel like volumes 21 is going to start where season 5 is going to pick up in the anime. This is volume 24. My favorite volume cover, because My Villain Academia, I adore the villains in this series so much because the villains are so human. Like, you can pretty much understand why they turned out to be villains. Like, what went wrong in their life that led them down the path of villainy. For the good majority of them. And I love that. I love the fact that the villains are so human. And this is my final volume for now. This is volume 25. Shigaraki. Yeah. So I think for my favorite arc of all time, it's definitely I think it's like called Shigaraki Rising. Shigaraki Origin. So that, like, from what's starting from here, I think it goes into volume 27. That's my favorite arc. Shigaraki's growth in those arcs is fantastic. The art's beautiful. Great arc. Definitely recommend a read. And just like where the story is now, I'm vibing. It's not a happy vibe. Not a happy vibe at all. It's actually kind of a sad vibe, but we're still vibing with it. So yeah, those are my 25 volumes of My Hero Academia in English. I will continue to stay current with this series. Once again, I am not current right now because the most current release is sitting in my ever beautiful present Bright Stuff haul that has my Jujutsu Kaisen, or has the Jujutsu Kaisen manga on it, and ain't no fucking telling when that's gonna ship out because I ordered that back at the end of November, and we're almost in March. I don't regret it because I really want the Jujutsu Kaisen manga. Okay, guys, so one more clap. Next series, final series, longest series in my collection. Alright, you guys, I'm going to try to speed through the final collection that I have in my, or the final series that I have in my collection. These actually span the most volumes I have of one series in my collection, and that is Haikyuu, the volleyball manga. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. It's really good. It's pretty much a wholesome series. Good messages. Volume 4. Sorry guys. I'm gonna speed through this one. Volume 5. Volume 6. Really got into this because I watched the anime. Really loved the anime. Thought the manga was pretty good. Went out and bought the entire series I could get my hands on up to that point. And that was volume 7. Volume 8. And I realized after I showed the final volume in my series, I got that far and wasn't in love with it anymore. Volume 9, I feel like that's controversial. Haikyuu's a great series. It's definitely a palate cleanser. Volume 10, but maybe it was a series I could have lived without. But at the time, I really wanted it, so I bought it. I bought a lot of it. 11. But now this series is completed, and it turned out to be a great series. Volume 12 is very popular. The anime is great. Furudate continues to feed us even to this day with new content from it. That's 13. This is 14. There's an art book. I think the art book's called From Beginning to End in English. Dying to get my hands on it. 15. There are spin-offs and light novels, but I have not read them. They haven't been released in English. Volume 16. Volume 17. Okay. I'll be back. This is volume 18. And overall, this is a wholesome story. I do really, really, really like Haikyuu. I just don't love it. And there's a lot of volumes. Volume 19, 20. I feel like all of the characters are likable and lovable, and they're all relatable. And like, there's such a wide array of characters. Ooh. 21. There's so many characters in the series that you will not find one that you either relate to personally or you just like. This is 22, and one of my favorite characters is actually Murasaki Yaku. Murasaki Yaku? Anyways, whatever his last name is, first name. I don't know. He's one of my favorites. But Nishinoya Yu was my absolute favorite. And I think the character I understand the most is probably Oikawa, because I feel like Oikawa had the most human arc. And I'm sure like if you read the series you know where I'm going. That's 23 with his arc, but that's 24. The series is great and I don't regret reading it. 25. I just wish this was one of the series where I just strictly read it online. 26, because as you can tell we're getting up there in numbers and I fell out of love with the series. 27, but now that I'm so far into collecting it, I feel like I need to finish owning the entirety of it. 28, and that's not a good feeling, but I am a major collector. 29, so that's why I need to be more selective whenever I get into a series. I need to be careful I don't get into long series I don't want to own. Am I careful like that? No, not at all. 30. 31. So there's Nishinoya. 32. And this 32 is about where we just ended in the manga. Or sorry, not in the manga, in the anime. So this is about season 5. Season 4? Season 4. Season 4 part 2. 33. And I'm not gonna lie, I've literally only read up to like volume 23. 34. Which is probably, because I just went ahead and continued buying it because I'm like, I'm gonna continue loving the series no matter what. And then by 23, I realized that sports anime for me are more enjoyable to watch, but not necessarily read. 35. But I did end up finishing it. Like, I physically have only read up to volume 23, but I finished the entire series on the Shonen Jump app. 36. That's pretty curious. 37, and I think the manga is gonna actually be going into the series soon. And then 38. 38 is my final volume that I have in my collection. I think there's 41 or 42, so I'm so close to completely having the entire series. I kind of find it dumb to not finish buying it because, like, I've already put this much money into it. So I'm not saying I regret it because I really like Haikyuu. And I like Haikyuu so much that this is another series I think I'm gonna buy for my goddaughter because it's such a wholesome series and I like the meaning behind it. And I think sports are good, and like maybe if she's young and she starts getting into sports, maybe she'll be active, which is all you want. You just hope for the best for your godchildren or for your children. But okay, guys, thank you for coming on that journey with me. There will sadly be a part 2 to this because there's still some other stuff in my collection that is manga, video game, and anime related that I need to show you before I start putting the new stuff that I've collected in on my shelves. So I'll probably be back tomorrow to film another video, and I'm sorry if I've seemed very tired in this video. It's because I am, and I'm gonna film an actual intro for this video too. But I just want to thank y'all if you made it all the way through this video. Thank you for looking at my collection and just watching this. I appreciate it. And anyone that clicks on these videos and watches them, I greatly appreciate you guys. And I promise I enjoy filming, so I think I'm going to continue to improve on this channel somehow. But okay, sentimental. Bye, you guys. Thank you. Hi, you guys. Next day, Ash. Would it be a video of mine if I didn't forget to film something? Probably not. So I actually forgot to film 11 volumes in my English manga collection, so I'm just gonna toss these out. These are series that aren't complete, that I will not be completing, but I'm keeping them around for nostalgic reasons. And the first series like that is actually the 7 Deadly Sins. I have volumes 1 through 3. My brother gifted me this series for Christmas one year, and while I enjoyed my time reading the first 3 volumes, the 7 Deadly Sins is an extremely long series, and I don't think I like this series enough to want to invest in that many manga volumes of it. So I have the first 3 volumes. I'm going to keep them because they were a gift from my older brother, but I will not be investing any more time or money into this series, and I've never seen the anime. And next is a series that got me back. It got me back into anime and essentially got me back into manga, so I'm very thankful for that, because like after I broke up with after I got out of one of my relationships, this person essentially wouldn't let me watch anime or read manga. He was very much against it, and he got mad if I did it with like one of my friends at the time. So I just kind of quit doing that because, you know, I was young and in love and really fucking stupid. But after we broke up, I was trying to figure out how the hell do I get back into anime and manga that I'm not rewatching something. I want to see something new. And that introduction was actually Tokyo Ghoul. So I have the first 8 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul. And even though I have no plans to finish collecting this, I have no plans to get I have read both Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul I have finished them both. I just loved this manga when I needed it. Like, that sounds bad to say. I love this manga and it got me out of my like rut, and it really like introduced me back to manga. And it's dark and it's twisted. I just don't think I like Tokyo Ghoul more than I like Tokyo Ghoul. I will admit that. I just don't know if I want to really finish collecting this because I have read it. And I just don't know if it's a series I'm looking to do an active reread of anytime soon. This might end up in my like other series where maybe a couple of years down the road I'm gonna want to do a reread of Tokyo Ghoul. Maybe if I do that reread and then I realize I want to reread Tokyo Ghoul I will take time out to actually buy both series and finish collecting them. But I can't find myself getting rid of Tokyo Ghoul because it's such a nostalgic series. And I really liked Tokyo Ghoul, the first season. Route A ruined it. Like, what they did with Route A is a fucking shame. Music's good. Music's really good. Like, the openings and the endings, fucking adore those. And even Tokyo Ghoul like the opening song to Tokyo Ghoul the first girl, I really liked it. I've never seen Tokyo Ghoul like Route A really just turned me off of Tokyo Ghoul, which is really a shame to say. And then like, this might be controversial, but I feel like Tokyo Ghoul ended too happy. This is a series that was filled with a lot of tragedy and suffering, and while I do think happy endings are very important, the happy ending that came about in really surprised me with how much the characters had suffered before that. That like, I truly thought that this was going to be like a series of pure suffering, which I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to read that, but I feel like Tokyo Ghoul ended too neatly and wrapped up. So I think just for that reason, just because I'm a salty, salty bitch, I don't know if I want to collect Ri. Because, like, I'm glad Kaneki got a happy ending. Do not get me wrong. Kaneki suffered so much. So much. That poor boy, like, in the story went through. He suffered through so much tragedy that part of me is like, I'm glad he got a happy ending. Even if, like, thematically, I don't know if I was expecting a happy ending. So maybe that's, like, my problem is I try not to be, like, oh, the series didn't end how I wanted it to, so I don't want to pick it up. But I kind of feel like that with Tokyo Ghoul, or Tokyo Ghoul Ri. Tokyo Ghoul ended fine. Like, the amount of suffering was what I expected. That sounds terrible, but I feel bad saying that because part of me is like, I'm glad Kaneki got a happy ending. I just think thematically I wasn't expecting a happy ending for Kaneki. So I was a little taken back that he got a happy ending. Because I was like, oh. I'm glad he's happy in the end. But I just didn't expect him to be happy. And maybe because, like, I was reading this at a time when I was in a very dark place myself. Maybe I think I just wanted the series to end in a dark place. And now that I'm in a much better mental state, I'm not, like, in my dark state anymore. Maybe I would actually appreciate the ending of Ri. Because now that I'm not being my edgy little bitchy self and I'm not struggling mentally, I think maybe the ending of Ri wouldn't turn me off like it did when I was mentally suffering. And I think that's why, like, I really like Tokyo Ghoul, is because I found it at a time where I was going through a lot, which is why, like, I won't ever get rid of these 8 volumes, because this series came to me at a time where I was in a very bad mental place, and seeing somebody else suffer in fiction, like, I don't ever want to see anybody suffer in real life, but seeing a character suffer, kind of nice. Like, I was just like, I vibe with this. And then, like, I was still in that dark mindset whenever Ri ended, and now that I'm in a very much more better state of mind, I don't think the ending of Ri would really bother me like it did when I was younger. But okay, guys, so those are the 11 volumes I forgot to show you. I've rambled too long, tacking on another 8 minutes, so I'm gonna go. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.